we begin the 23rd letter, and in this letter, wakeful angels, and by the word of those holy ones. It's the statement that begins. It's taught in the Mishnah. If 10 people sit together and engage in the study of Torah, the divine presence, the Shekhinah, rests among them. The Alter Rebbe says this is the entire purpose of an individual, that they were created. Moreover, the soul's very descent to this world was for the purpose of an ascent. The soul is descending. It has a much more profound connection to the Almighty before it comes into this world. So why does it come into this world? To descend. Why? In order to have a greater ascent afterwards. How's that going to happen? So the Alter Rebbe explains, through the study of Torah publicly. There's no greater ascent than that. The Shekhinah cannot be contained, maintained, held up by any of the lofty spiritual levels, Gan Eden, Garden of Eden. No, the Shekhinah can. It cannot be contained. Only here, in this world, where we have a public gathering to learn Torah with at least 10 people, there is the Shekhinah being uplifted. Where do we know this concept from? Well, it says in the verse in the book of Numbers, Ki ani Hashem sheichem b'seich b'nei Israel. For I, God, dwell among, the word among is in Hebrew toch, the children of Israel. Okay, but that sounds like it's the entirety of the Jewish people. Now, and this is a result of Torah study and the observance of commandments in a group of 10. Where do we get that from? Because the word toch also is used in another place, which says, Hibadlu mitocha eda. This is the story of the spies, where there were 10 spies, and they came back with a negative report about the land of Israel. And Moses says, separate yourself. Mitoch. The word toch again, meaning from within. This Ada. Ada means a congregation. And it was number 10. So 10 is a complete congregation that reflects Bnei Yisrael, the entirety of the Jewish people. That's why certain things you can only do with 10, like say Kaddish, you could, for someone who's passed away, you have a minyan, quorum, for prayers, and so on. The idea over here is that the holiness of God is within the 10, meaning a public gathering of 10. Now, the truth is, there's also the idea that if you study Torah alone, so it says, as our sages say, that if one person sits and engages in the study of Torah, God sets a reward for them. So the sages had to come and prove that, because really it's in a place of 10. So the difference is you get a personal reward for the study, but that you affect the Shekhinah, which is the embodiment of the entire Jewish people, all the souls of the Jewish people, is only when you have 10 people doing something, doing it together in a public manner. Right? Now, when we're doing this over different people in different parts of the world, but yet we're coming together in one place, so to speak, online or on a platform, where the platform is Facebook, Instagram, or Clubhouse, Um, so there is some kind of idea here of, public forum, but it doesn't fit all the ways. It's partially, it has that capability, but not completely. But we'll get back to that. So the sages had to find that an individual who learns on their own, studies Torah on their own, is also gets a special reward. However, what it doesn't do is bring the indwelling of God's holiness. An individual can't do that. That can only be done when there is a quorum. And again, that quorum is what we call Ada, congregation, as the verse says. In one verse it says congregation, that was the 10 spies. In the other verse, where it says the same word toch, and it brings about the holiness of God, there it's speaking about Bnei Israel, the entire Jewish people. Meaning 10 becomes sort of like the reflection, just like, one drop of water, can reflect the entirety of the sun. So one group of 10 can reflect the entirety of the Jewish people, and therefore help ascend the Shekhinah, the divine presence of God, as a result. Okay, let's unpack this powerful idea. So, the father tells his children, his 10 kids, each one of you is like a branch. Each one of you is like a branch, right? But each branch could be broken. But when you put the 10 branches together, you can't really break them. It's too powerful. So, yes, one individual is a branch and can bring the light of God, but it's not a powerful light of God. It's not something that reflects the entirety of the Jewish people. Only that is with a congregation. Only that is when you have 10 or more learning together. That is extremely powerful. That is extremely powerful. Now, again, the one person who does learn on their own, as the Mishnah says, you get great reward. It's a great thing, a great accomplishment. It's not negating the greatness of learning on your own. So, don't stop doing that. But there is something profound and great about the collective whole coming together. And this is what the Torah is teaching us over here in this concept. So things of holiness that can affect the Shekhinah, the divine presence of God, in a manner that it can ascend it. So it needs the quorum of 10, at least 10, to make that congregation. That we can accomplish things that cannot be accomplished otherwise. Do things that cannot be done otherwise. As I said, like a Kaddish, a Baruch Hu, a Kedusha, for those who are familiar with prayers in particular. But here, we're speaking specifically about Torah study, because the uniqueness of Torah study. So, just to let you know that there is something unique about the fact that we are learning together as a group. And even though we're not physically in the same place, and when it comes to a minyan, so you need 10 people are physically in that place, but a person who's not in that place but is on Zoom, let's say, in a minyan, can answer Amen. Can't say the Kaddish, but can answer to the minyan. So there is some kind of connection through, but you do need to have that 10 in one place, one physical place. There is still something, even though, today the world is a global village, and, through internet. We have a capacity of being together, and that's amazing. And it absolutely, but still, the base needs to have the quorum. So we don't have that here yet. We don't have that, but that's a powerful idea. All right. Questions, comments, thoughts about this? So I see over here, Davida, is the Shekhinah still uplifted in a group that is less than 10 studying Torah? Again, you can only have 10 in order to have this, unique, profound effect. And when you can't find 10 people, the story with Abraham, June, 10 people in Sodom and Gomorrah, you're saying. Yeah. What if one is only studying Torah? So we said, Deborah, it's not that you're not accomplishing, you're accomplishing. Let's not, make a mistake. But as we know from our experience, when you have a group effort, there's, it's not just the sum total of the group, right? There's something greater than the sum total of the group that, oops, happened there. Second. There's something greater than the sum total of the group. There's something greater than the sum total of the group when it's 10 or more. That's the uniqueness over here that we're talking about. Susanna, how can you influence a change or a feeling on someone close to you already expressed with a negative perspective about you? Yeah. We need to try to stop trying to influence other people on how they should think. Just lead by an example. Do what you got to do, and hopefully you'll have an effect on others. But you can't change another person's feelings. That's their issue. They need to come learn Tanya. Let them learn this part of Tanya today. Learn this. It's very powerful from what we learned previously. David, I just read that if Klal Israel were united together asking Hashem to spare Moshe, it would have changed the outcome. Yeah. Okay. But this is the outcome. And this is what it is. Yes, absolutely. Okay. Any other questions? Any other thoughts? All right, folks. We will continue this thought tomorrow. We will continue this thought tomorrow, God willing. So we're not finished. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zich and Kadesh Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. Have a good vach, a good moyed, and a reminder, 1 o'clock for Rambam, and 6:30 we'll learn about the holiday coming up.